Hello, welcome back to the Cricket Nerds. It's me and Benji talking about India versus England, the second test match, day 4. And India have won the test match, levelling the series, beating England by 106 runs. Jasprit Bumrah, man of the match, as we expected. And it was a good effort from England, all things being said. It was the second highest fourth innings score by any visiting side in India. Long stat, but actually quite impressive when you think about it. And to say that India, I mean, they set a target of 399, was it?
Yeah.
That should be more than enough in pretty much any conditions. The fact that England looked like they potentially could have done it if, a couple of things had been slightly different, if a couple of players maybe hadn't thrown their wickets away quite as much or something like that. That is testament to how well England played, but India were the rightful winners of this test match. Outstanding performance from Jasprit Bumrah. I think he was, the real hero of this match. Obviously, Yashasvi Jaiswal with his double ton, and then Shubman Gill with his single ton. They helped a lot because that's what England were lacking, really. That was the difference between the two sides, as well as Bumrah just making the breakthroughs. And any time that an England player looked like they could start to get going, Bumrah was there to either stop the runs or take the wickets. So it was really impressive. Let's talk about the day, because it started off with Zach Crawley and Rahan Ahmed, the Nighthawk, opening the batting for this morning. What did you think of, I don't know, just the first few wickets that fell? Because if I read out the numbers of the first few wickets that fell, we've got obviously Ben Duckett yesterday on day 3, fell for 28. Rahan Ahmed, 23. Ollie Pope, 23. Joe Root, 16 off 10, which we'll talk about. Johnny Bairstow, 26. And then Ben Stokes, 11. Nobody really got going. Zach Crawley, 73, though. So what are your thoughts on the way England batted?
Lots of starts, I think. There were lots of starts, but no one went on and got the big score. What we really needed was to have one person that would go through and score big, like we had in with Ollie Pope in the third innings of the Hyderabad test. And then other players to stick in and, rather than get 20 to 30, score 40 to 50. That would have been England's recipe for winning this game. I think Rahan Ahmed looked quite good at number 3. And then, just got trapped, stoned at LBW by Akshar Patel. Was a bit flat, wasn't it? And he just walked off straight away, shouldered arms, was like, well, that's out. So a bit of bad luck for Rahan Ahmed there, I think. So I think he was going quite well. I was quite impressed with England's approach, though. Like they were saying last night, James Anderson was saying there was 180 overs left in this test. We're going to try and knock off 400 or 399 in 70 or 60 or 70 overs. And you could tell that England went out with that intent. If you look at just some of the strike rates, I mean, Zach Crawley played a more measured innings, but everyone else was pretty much in and around 100 or at least over 70. Rahan Ahmed scored at quite a good clip. Ollie Pope scored at quite a good rate. I'll ask you about Joe Root in a second, but everyone looked quite good. And then Ben Stokes came in once Zach Crawley fell, and you could tell that he was trying to play the measured, slower innings to take over from Zach Crawley and what he'd previously been batting. Yeah, I think India just bowled well today. I think there was the real change point of the game was on the second afternoon when Jasprit bowled that spell that took 3 or 4 wickets that ended up getting his 6th for. That was really the changing landscape for me. And I think it was just a matter of time to today for the spinners to, supported by Mukesh Kumar, finally getting a wicket in this series and anyway as well, and finally being able to bowl England out. And I think as soon as it got to about 196 for 4 at that point, 194 for 6, at that point, it looked a bit like it was a bit out of England's grasp without some form of Stokes heroics, which we've come to rely on more and more and more these days. But yeah, James, talk us through what you thought about Joe Root, because you have some thoughts on this.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird. I mean, so what you were saying about the strike rates, first of all, for Rahan Ahmed, Ollie Pope, Ben Duckett, Johnny Bairstow, all of them, yeah, fair enough. They're going at a decent clip, but that means nothing when you're getting 20 odd. It's
Mm.
worthless, really. You'd much rather they take a little bit longer and actually um, get more runs. But obviously, that was testament to the India bowlers as well. I think Joe Root looked frenetic. Now, obviously, he had some sort of finger injury. That was the reason he didn't really bowl on day 3, and you know, it was almost up in the air whether he'd be able to bat in a little way. So I don't know if that had something to do with the way he played, but he was out there for 10 minutes. He hit 2 fours and a 6. The first ball he reverse swept for 4, or reverse swept. He then gloved one behind that went for 4. He had a 6 that was like he charged down the track, and then he went out by trying to just mow Ashwin over cow corner, and it just he top edged it to backward point. It was really odd. It was like he was really trying to just hit himself into form. I'm not sure. The more I think about it, the more I think it must have been his finger that was making him play like that, because it was pretty shocking. Bairstow, again, he's somebody that I want to talk about a little bit, because he hasn't been in. He's looked good every single time, and yet he's been going out in the 20s or the 30s,
Mm.
and that's just not good enough. What do you think about him? Like, do you think that England are missing the option of being able to put Harry Brook in at this point for Bairstow?
I don't know, because with Bairstow, it's just a matter of time until he does score big. In my view, I think if Brook was playing, I think we'd see Brook at 5 and we'd see folks dropped for Bairstow. Is my view, which I
Really?
think would probably I reckon so. I think that would
I
be a
don't think we'd
poor.
see that now. I really don't.
Maybe
I
not
think
now, but
Pope's, yeah.
I think at the start of the series we potentially could have, because I think that Ben Folkes has proved himself now with his keeping. I think Ben Folkes needs a bigger score, though. If he gets a 50, then I think that would solidify that a bit more. Folkes has always chipped in with handy runs, but as you say, he's there as the keeper, not necessarily as the batter. Whereas Bairstow's here to primarily be a batter. And I think he's trying to get some of that 2021, 2022 form back
Mm.
before he broke his leg. I think if he had some of that, then that would be that's why he's playing in the team, I think, in these test matches. And if he got back some of that form, that would be great for England. As I say, there's still 3 matches left in this series, right? So there's time for individuals to stand up and put a
Yeah.
performance in. I mean, we've seen that happen from the India side. Different people are standing up. Like we saw in the first match, it was with the bat, it was KL, and it was Jadeja that really stood up. And in this test, it's been Jaiswal and Gill. And I think in this test, Jaiswal, Gill, and Bumrah won it for India.
Mm.
And I think that in the first test, it was a mixture of Tom Hartley in the second innings and Ollie Pope that won it for England. So it's just there just needs to be one standout performance, one big score that they need to do. And it needs to be a different person. I think Root's overdue a big score. I think Bairstow's overdue a big score. Stokes is that forever ever the enigma. Like he could get run out for 11 or 29, or he could hit 130. It's always to be seen. The one thing I'm really pleased with, though, and I think I want to hear what you think about this, is the bowling all rounders,
Mm.
Rahan Ahmed and Tom Hartley, because they have got runs every time. Like every time we've needed it, they've chipped in with useful 20s, useful 30s. So I think that's really a good prospect. It's just we need the batters to join in with that, I think.
I completely agree. I think Tom Hartley in particular, I am super impressed with. I kind of knew that Rahan Ahmed was, had decent potential as a batsman. But Tom Hartley now, after playing 4 innings, he averages 28.5 with the bat. That's really handy. That's exactly what you want from your number 8 or 9. So yeah, very happy with Tom Hartley. And yeah, Rehan Ahmed, I think he's got so much potential. He's still really young, so he will come. He will come on leaps and bounds. Stokes' run out. It's worth just mentioning that was shocking from him. You know, he was jogging to start with, and he didn't put in a dive at the end. It was very schoolboy error, I think, is the phrase that was getting bandied around on Twitter quite a lot, and I think that's about right. It was a village display of running from Stokes, which is not what you expect to see. And who knows where England would be if he'd managed to stay in, probably still losing, don't get me wrong, but there's always that seed of doubt. And as soon as you get big players like that out in cheap ways, it's a huge lift for India as soon as they see, in the same way that if England got Virat Kohli out with a little run out, something like that, it would be like, oh my goodness, we've really been let off here. So that's the other point. And obviously we're probably gonna preview the next test match because it's 10 days away, is it now? 9 days?
Yeah, quite a
So,
break. 15th it starts.
yeah, so we've got plenty of time to talk about that, but the big name that's going to be returning is Virat Kohli, and that's going to make things really exciting. So we will talk more later on this. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Congratulations, India. Commiserations, England. It's been an incredible 2 test matches so far, an incredible start to the series. It's 1-1. Amazing pitches as well. So let's hope that carries on. I'm just super excited for the rest of the series. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Become a member if you want to support the channel. We do extra content. There is a bonus video that is members only. So check that out. It's really cool. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.